Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? So let's just jump right into the topic of the day. But first, I wanted to kind of go back over some things I mentioned in my first video, which is I am a certified life coach and I specialize in health anxiety. And like I mentioned before, it's the reason, the reason why I am doing this is because I have lived through it for a couple years, more than a couple years. It was a nightmare. I'm sure if you suffer from this, you understand. But I kind of wanted to give you a better idea of like how I got here and doing this. And so for me, the problem started in, I want to say late in 2019. I started just having like problems with my body. Had no idea what. And at first, it didn't seem like a big deal, but as time went on, like I felt like my body was breaking down. I'm like, what is going on? And I was running to the hospital. Like I think my first thing was I couldn't breathe very well, and I was like convinced that there was something wrong with my lungs. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to say the words because I don't want to like trigger anyone's anxiety. But so I was into the doctor, and then it spiraled from there. Kept Googling these symptoms, and next thing I know, I spent like a good 2 years convinced I was about ready to die. You know, if you're there, you know what I'm talking about. So fast forward, came to find out that I was actually in the early stages of menopause, what we call perimenopause. I came across that word and I was like, what is this perimenopause thing? It sounds like menopause. What is it? I don't know what this is, but I learned a lot about it. I found out what it was, and it was just my hormones were like going up and down, and some days crashing on me, sometimes normal. And this, for any woman who's gone through this journey, you know that fluctuating hormones, especially after the age of 40, like 35, 40, it can start for some of us, it makes your body do some pretty funky things. Not fun. But see, the problem is that the damage was done. Like, by the time I knew that it was my hormones, the mental damage was done, and I was still in this health anxiety. I was put on like anti-anxiety meds for a while, and they were great, and they worked, but I didn't want to be dependent on those, so I weaned myself off of the anxiety meds, and I started carrying on by myself. And I finally was able to get through it. And even though I still have my moments where the fear can like almost overtake me, I'm able to just, like no, like time out. No anxiety, no stress. This is not happening to me. I basically just like put it to a stop. Okay. So the subject of today is going to be intrusive thoughts. I mentioned this in my first video. Intrusive thoughts can be like the root of most anxiety, but because we're talking about health anxiety, we'll talk about it with regards to that. So your intrusive thoughts, what they are doing is you're somewhere along the way with us, those of us with health anxiety, somewhere along the way, our brain started allowing these irrational thoughts a quick pathway into our brain. Like, bam, they're there. They take a hold of you. And all of a sudden, this thought is got a hold on you. And you're like, I'm dying. This is it. I'm just going to start like, preparing for the worst, Okay, that's what the intrusive thoughts do that to you. They manage to get an express route into your brain. Now, for me, I think a part of getting through health anxiety was recognizing when like, no, this is an intrusive thought and I'm not going to let you into my brain. Full stop, you're done. And so the nature of these intrusive thoughts is not only are they taking a really quick pathway into your brain, they're basically controlling all of your reasoning. You have no reasoning when these thoughts take over, like at all. And if you've been living with health anxiety for a long time, you know it. You know in the back of your mind that these thoughts are wrong and they're lying to you. But it's just the nature of health anxiety. So, there's this lovely young lady that when I first started working with her, I told her, I says, you know what? You have to think of these thoughts as garbage thoughts because they're garbage and they belong in the garbage. And when those thoughts enter your brain, you just crumple up that stupid intrusive thought and you toss it in the garbage where it belongs. Don't let it take a hold of you, okay? Because then you're gonna ruminate on this idea that there's something seriously wrong with you. So wrapping up today's video, my advice to you is to start learning how to recognize when a thought is an intrusive thought. Okay, practice stopping it, just stopping it, okay? Because somewhere your intrusive thoughts have a really loud voice in your head, but somewhere in your brain there's this small, quiet, rational voice that is saying, what is this terrible, loud thought in here that's making us panicky? You have to learn how to focus on the rational, that little rational voice in your head that's telling you that this thought in your brain that's telling you that there's something wrong because you have some weird little symptom. You have to listen to that little quiet rational thought because that thought is telling you the truth. That is the thought being honest with you. The intrusive thought is the one that's just a big, lying, mean, bully jerk. Okay? So, as always, like I want everybody to remember, please, please be kind to yourself. Have a good afternoon.